The purpose of this video is to discuss how to use viewports inside of Bluebeam. In general, Bluebeam allows you, it has a bunch of features for measurements and other options that utilize calibration. So for instance, dimensioning, they let you like pick 2 points and set a unit relationship so that you can get dimensions. Something very good for older documents. But when you have multiple views that are multiple dimensions in a same file, that can be a lot of switching back and forth to try and get your dimensions correctly or to scale something to bring in. So Bluebeam has an option called Viewports, also found in the Measuring tab. We're going to create one for this sheet here. This sheet here has 2 scales. This is a second floor at 8th scale, and then this is a second floor at quarter scale. We're not going to use the calibrate on dimensioning at all, and we'll leave it at a 1:1 ratio. I'm going to show you how to use that to dimension as well as place elements, and it scales for both of these. We're using the viewports. So what we're going to do is come down here in the viewports, and if you ever open up Bluebeam and says something about unnamed viewports, asks you want to delete them, this is what it's referring to. So I'm going to click the Add button here. Is it telling me I need to create a region? This can only be a rectangular region, but I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to draw a box around the 8th scale area. You know, it's very important that you don't have these overlaps so that you won't have any confusion on when you're dimensioning or anything. So click that. What do I want to name this viewport? I will name it /8" VP. And right now it's telling me it has a scale factor of 12 inches equals a foot. So we need to change that. So we'll come down here, 0.125, and then I'll click off. And you'll see over here now it says 0.12, so it's 1/8 inch equals a foot. And I'm going to add another one here for the quarter. Again, the region comes up, draw my box. You notice when it does disappear the viewport. So you're not going to see it at all times, only when you're doing a task that lines up with it. I'm going to create the name for this will be 1/4 inch. I hit OK. And again, you'll see the 12 inch equals a foot. I'll set it to 0.25. And as soon as I move on, add scale updates here. As soon as I click off and I don't have either one of those viewports highlighted, they disappear. They're not going to be used anywhere. So what we're going to do now is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over just dimensioning. So it's important if you're using the viewport method, you got to make sure your calibrate or the ratio here for actual dimensions is set to 0. Or sorry, set to 12 inches equals 1:1. 12 inches equals a foot. You don't want anything other than that because that'll compound with the ratio that you have applied to the viewport at the same time. So we're going to go through and I will dimension. I'm going to dimension right outside here, not involved with the viewport. So right now I'll go like that, and it's about 2 inches here. So I'm going to do the same exact thing inside this viewport. You notice as I'm going to dimension, the blue boxes are back. So I'm going to dimension this 2x2 grid. Point to point and 2. Now I'm going to switch right over to the other one. I mean, these are the same exact floor plans, so they're all 2x2s. So I'll pick 2 points, and that is also 2 feet. So this allows you to switch back and forth and do dimensioning without a lot of additional work. A little prep, a lot more time saving, bouncing back and forth. One of the other good experiences of this comes down to content. So, and since this is a reflective ceiling plan, I'll use the lighting here. The light fixtures on the lighting tool chest has a 1:1 ratio. So before you use this, you want to make sure that you set a scale. So where it's 12 inch, the 1:1 ratio is here, 12 inches equals a foot, because that's how they're built. So that tells it how to start, and it'll scale down appropriately. And you also want to have this blue box highlighted. That means it's actually setting these scales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this in, click this emergency light, It's nice and big because it was drawn at the full size. As soon as I bring it into the viewport, you'll see it automatically sizes down, and if it's right in the right inside the grids. Now I'm going to move right over to the other one and to a bigger scale, and you'll notice it jumps right up, and again, fits right inside the grids. You'll see the same thing for, I'll do some wall-mounted lights. And it jumps up and come back over here and do the same exact thing. These are obviously not, this is still a PDF, so it's not going to show up in one view and in the other, but it allows you to see the scales and adjust the scales appropriately. You'll notice both these are, this is a 4 foot long, and you'll notice it's the same length as the 4 foot of the grids. It's got a lot of good features, and not everything should be set up with the scaling feature. Things like lighting, things that are exact sizes. So this is where scaling's good. Items like tags and everything else, you don't need to do. Scaling is not an issue because, on paper, your tags are going to be the right size whether you're looking at a scale or a quarter scale. So you don't have to worry about these types of issues.